Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. Wearing a hat. Golf coming up. Excited. Won my 5% play last night. We got a great show lined up. Marco D'Angelo joining us at the top. He's going to look at Houston and Seattle. The Los Angeles Dodgers at Chicago. Ralph Michaels. He's going to take apart the NBA game tonight, as well as Arizona versus the Mets. And he has a chart for us, and we'll end the show with Kyle Anthony talking some UFC. Teddy, what's your big game breakdown going to be?
Big game breakdown, you better believe it. We're talking college football week 1. And the reason we're doing it today, and the only reason we're doing it today is because there's a 3.5 out there, and it's not going to be there for much longer. So let's take them out today. We'll talk about why on Big Game Breakdown. And of course, for my What Bettors Learn segment, we'll do a little Angel Hernandez talk. And yeah, we'll do a little Bill Walton talk as well. Lawrence, let's get into it.
A lot of people, some people started Googling that Bill Walton bad comments about the Fab Five. Couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Again, shout out to everybody who played my 5% play yesterday. Thank you, guys. We were down 2-0 early in that game. I was losing my mind, but we pulled it out easy, 5-2 win. Marco D'Angelo joining us right now. Marco, my brother, a great night for you again, dude. I mean, it's never ending for you. You have had a 2024 from the gods.
It's been good, Prez, and not that I like to correct you, but you said the LA Dodgers against Chicago. No, we're going WNBA.
Yeah. Well, no. Oh, it's WNBA. I messed up. Hey, bro, these things happen. I'm not perfect. I'm very close, about 97% perfect, but that does leave a little room for error. Yes, Teddy will take the under. Brother, let's get straight into it. Houston playing Seattle today. Where are you going in this game?
Well, we're looking at this one in the Astros, after they finally put together a winning streak, they're back to their losing ways. They've lost 3 in a row, 4 of their last 5 games. Here's where the concern is. They've scored 2 runs or less. So now you got a team heading the wrong direction. They're not hitting the baseball at the moment. We've got Seattle. We've talked about this team numerous times this year. This is a team that a lot of wise guys have expected big things from, and then they haven't delivered. Well, they're currently on a 4-game winning streak, and I am going to ride them here because not only do I like you got the 2 teams heading in opposite directions, I love the pitching matchup. Houston's going to send Spencer Arrighetti to the mound. This guy has just been a human pinata. No other way to put it. Last 4 starts, he's allowed 14 runs in 21 innings of work. His strikeout to walk ratio, 22 strikeouts to 10 walks, 2-to-1 ratio there. That's not what you want to see. Too many free passes. It's also why he struggled on the road this year with all of those free passes. 4 road starts. His ERA is over 10, and his WHIP is 2.28. He's putting over 2 base runners per inning on base on the road. And as I always say, when you put that many people on base, bad things are going to happen, and they've been happening to him all year. Now, on the other side of the mound, Seattle's going to send Logan Gilbert to the mound. He's made 11 starts this year. He's got a solid ERA, 3.06. Even more impressive is his WHIP, under 1, 0.96. And I look at a couple key stats with Houston. Some people might say, okay, hey, Houston's looking to avoid the sweep. A lot of people like to do that angle. Well, if you've done that angle this year with Seattle, you're losing with Houston, you're losing a lot of money. When they've played with double revenge, 2 straight losses to the same team, how about 5-16 this season? And Seattle, following a game where the bullpen was perfect, gave up no runs, they're 14-5 in their next game. But because I don't want to put the bullpens into play in this one, and I think there's such a mismatch with the starting pitchers, I'm going to go first 5 innings. You can get first 5 innings at minus 140 in this game. So you do have the chance of a push here. Or I don't have a problem either if you want to bring the price down even further and lay that half a run over 5 innings. You can go that route. But here for the show today, officially, I'm going to go first 5 innings, money line, and I'm going to lay the $1.40.
So do we worry about Seattle not hitting the baseball? You talked about Houston's problems, but the Mariners' offense has not exactly been clicking. They've scored 2, 4, 3. They had the 9-run outburst during the game against Patrick Corbin. Before that, 1, 1, 0, and 3. So basically, they scored more than 4 runs once in their last 8 games, and that came against a pitcher who's probably worse than the one they're facing today. Do you worry at all about this Mariners' anemic offense being a problem, even with Logan Gilbert?
Yeah, the anemic. Obviously, if they were facing a good pitcher, Teddy, I would be majorly concerned. But as you said, they faced somebody that might have been a little bit even worse than who they're facing today. Well, who they're facing today is pretty bad, and I'm banking on that. And the fact that they won 4 games in a row, as bad as they've been hitting, tells me their pitching has been absolutely stellar. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And, again, I just don't see Arrighetti changing his spots all of a sudden in one game. I see nothing on him that indicates a buy sign. So I'm going to go ahead and run with Seattle. And you know what? If it's a 2-1 game through 5, I'll go ahead and take that because that'll cash either way. I bet it.
Marco D'Angelo joining us, everyone. I want to read something from the chat room. A listener that I've never seen before, Jonathan Wilson. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Going to be a great show, boys. Wanted to just say thank you. I am winning now more since watching your show, because you guys have taught me the importance of value and not just picking sides and totals. That stuff makes my day. So thrilled that you took the time to write that and that you take the time to join us in the chat room. Shout out to the rest of you guys, Nick, Javier, UC, Ray, B Daddy, who likes my hat. Of course, Sean Alvarez. He never misses a show. Marco D'Angelo, let's go to basketball, brother. WNBA, Los Angeles, otherwise known as LA, playing Chicago, otherwise known as Chicago. How do we bet this game?
So bonus round, you have no idea what their nicknames are of either team, correct?
One's the sky and the other's the wind.
All right. No. Okay.
It's literally
right
on the screen, genius.
Well, again, you still would not have known. This is a spot.
I knew the sky. I knew the sky.
All right.
I don't even know the nickname for Chicago. By the way, Chicago is otherwise known as the Windy City, but
Yeah.
Marco.
No.
This is
it's otherwise known as Chicago. The place with shitty pizza.
Okay.
Deep dish, I will agree with you. I'm not a fan of deep dish pizza.
Lasagna on bread.
This is a situation where, guy that says he's learning about value and everything else, this is a perfect segue into this game because as the markets are there, I think the WNBA, as I told you guys last week, why I'm involved in the WNBA this year, and it's been a good start to the season for me. We're 4-1 in the WNBA, picking off spots. I think there's inefficiencies in the market. I think this is a league that's getting a lot of new eyeballs this year, and people are overreacting to games. And that's the situation we're going to look at here tonight with Chicago. You've got the LA Sparks who are coming off a big win in their last game. It was a big revenge game for them. They actually went to Indiana and Caitlin Clark. Now, the reason it was a big revenge game for them is they were the team that gave Caitlin Clark her first win as a professional basketball player. Last week, the Indiana Fever went to L.A., got their first win in L.A. Now, this is a spot where they got the revenge spot. It was a game definitely they wanted, but they also caught Indiana on a horrible scheduling spot. Indiana had just returned home from a road trip. They were playing their 8th game in 2 weeks. And here's the oddity for Indiana. They were an absolutely tired team. This is a team that their first 8 games of the season, scheduling quirk, played all 8 games in a different city. They played all road games, and they never played back-to-back home games. So it was a great spot for the Sparks to get the revenge win. Now, because they got that win over Caitlin Clark and the Fever, which the team that's been overrated all year, the market is overvaluing the Sparks tonight. This line is too low against Chicago. And you look at this Chicago team, they're just 2-3 on the season. But if you look at the 5 games they played this season, they opened the season with back-to-back games in Dallas. They split there. Then they went their 3rd game on the road to the New York Liberty, the second best team in the WNBA. Followed that up, returning home to play the Connecticut Sun. That is the 3rd best team in the WNBA. And then they played Seattle. Seattle and Dallas are 2 of the most improved teams. So what am I telling you? Chicago has played a murderous schedule so far. The only team they're missing in there of the WNBA elite would be the Las Vegas Aces. The line at 4.5 is way too low in this game. I have Chicago winning this game by 8 or more. I'm laying the 4.5 with this one. Take them, lay the points, and grab it because I expect the line to go up once the Sharps get involved later.
Lay it or don't play it, says Marco. Look at Chicago. The Sky minus the 4.5 against the Sparks in WNBA action for Thursday. Marco, it's been a great 2024 so far for you and your clients. What do you have going this evening and moving forward?
I've got a 4% play in baseball. It is my baseball game of the week. You can pick that up right now over at WagerTalk. 7-3 the last 2 days. You can check that out. We've got some specials going, some long-term specials if you want to jump on board and get everything. That Chicago play that I just gave you here is also going to be a client play tonight. So you got a freebie there. And if you want to pick up the 4%, head on over to WagerTalk.
There we go. Marco D'Angelo, segment over, in the bag. He can go back to his life, his handicapping, etc., etc. Teddy, and Marco's just been on fire. It's like every day I win, and then I log on and Marco wins more. Anyway, it's always good to have him. Again, huge thank you to everyone who was on my 5% play yesterday. We made a lot of sales. I'm so appreciative. I've got a real big play again going tonight, a 4% in the NBA. And well, I'm the number one NBA playoff expert at WagerTalk, up 47 units of profit and on a 17-4 run. But my 4% plays are on a 19-2 run, which is just unbelievable. And I have won 10 NBA 4% plays in a row. So guys, if you are going to bet the NBA tonight, I'm the guy. I have your play. Teddy covers. What did bettors learn?
So I want to talk today about Bill Walton and Angel Hernandez, 2 guys who have made a lot of headlines in the last couple of days. Bill Walton for dying, Angel Hernandez for leaving or retiring in the middle of the season. And I guess my goal here is to never talk about either one of these 2 guys again after today. So really the goal is to never know another umpire's name. All right. When we talk about Angel Hernandez, we don't want to know umpires' names. We don't want to know Scott Foster's name. We don't want to know NBA refs' names. We don't want to know John Hirschbeck. You know, there's a reason that Robbie Alomar spit at that guy. We don't want controversial umpires. We don't want umpires that can't ump or can't call balls and strikes. I mean, I saw so many, one thread after the next of Angel Hernandez missed calls. But the goal as a bettor is to have the game refed, umped, whatever correctly. Angel Hernandez didn't do that. There are other umpires that have similar problems. That being said, we knew his name. We don't want to know his name. We don't want to know the refs' names. They're not a piece of the puzzle, and they shouldn't be a piece of the puzzle when it comes to what happens on the field. So, Hernandez, Foster, Hirschbeck, wherever you want to go, let these guys retire, and let's move on to another generation of umps and refs that we don't ever learn their names. We talk about Bill Walton. And again, I said some stuff yesterday. I'm sure it's controversial. All right. Bill Walton called Michigan, the Michigan team that went to the finals, the NCAA championship game with all their starters as freshmen, and then again with all their starters as sophomores. Quote, one of the most overrated and underachieving teams of all time. The big thing that Walton did was referring to the Fab Five with every racist code word you can think of, most notably thugs. Over and over again, thugs, thugs, thugs. Michigan, the Fab Five, they were different in college basketball. They all had shaved heads. Okay. Ooh. They all had long shorts, baggy shorts. Ooh. And they played a flashy style. But they were a fundamentally sound team. They were not a team of thugs. And Bill Walton's racist ass called them that nationally, set the whole tone against Michigan. And I don't forgive him for that. In death, in life, to me, that was as racist gets, as uneducated gets. He can be a dead fan. That's wonderful. Rest in peace, Bill. I hope I never have to talk about you again. That's what I learned, Lawrence. Back to you.
Okay, great take, Teddy. I'm adding nothing to that whatsoever. Sure. Let's bring Ralph Michaels in. Ralph, how are you today? Ralph?
We don't know.
There he is.
I am here. Hey guys. Hey.
What's going on, my friend?
I wasn't around last week. Did you guys enjoy the Dead concert at the Sphere?
We've gone through that ad nauseum, brother.
Did you? Okay, all good.
It was amazing. I had the best time. I did see, I think Teddy's earlobe quivered. Maybe a piece of hair, strand 64, quadrant 5 moved. So I'm guessing that he had a good time. With Teddy, as we said yesterday, he's the only guy that cries during sex. So who the hell knows if he had a good time or not?
Well, Theodore? I just say that because I just read that they extended it, Prez. So anyone out there that is a Dead fan, they added more dates. So feel free to jump on in.
You got it, brother. Okay, let's get straight to it. We got an NBA game tonight. Dallas playing Minnesota. It's a closeout game for Dallas. They're on the road. You like the Minnesota team total here. Are you going over or under 106.5?
I am going over 106.5. And this was not a play. This was not close to a play, but I did want to break it down just because it is an NBA Game 5. So when I went to the database, guys, and when you look at Series Game 5 teams with only one win that are awful loss, like Minnesota is, there haven't been many, obviously. They've gone 9-7 to the over. But when you exclude totals of 207 or less, the real low totals, they've gone 9-4 over under. And if you exclude round 1, 7 of those 9 games have gone over the total. When you look at round 3, you would think, oh my God, these are the conference finals. These teams are hungry. They're playing defense. When you exclude game 7 from all round 3 games, they're actually 53.4% to the over. And when you exclude huge totals, then they're 56% to the over. And if the home team won the last game, 60% to the over. So round 3 has been an over round when you exclude game 7. When I look at Dallas, you look at Kyrie and you look at Doncic, and they're superstars. And look at what they said. Doncic, that game's on me. I didn't give enough energy. I have to give more. When you look at Irvine said, this game, a lot of it was on me. I had spurts. We had spurts. I've got to put a full 48 minutes into the game together. We all know Towns struggled mightily the first few games, shooting 27.8%. We saw him jump up and shoot well, making 9 of 13 overall and 4 of 5 from three-point land. Lively still a question mark. If he doesn't go, that helps Minnesota inside as well. And when I look at Minnesota, look at what they've scored. Again, this is 106.5. They scored 105, 108, 107, 105. The first 3 went over. And in those first 2 games at home, they shot only 42.7% and 41.2%. Well, they righted the ship in Dallas, shooting 50.6% and 52.7% the last 2. I think that continues at home. I was pretty well split, guys. Do I want to use the full game here, or do I want to go Minnesota? When I broke down the game a little bit, it just was a slight edge for me to go Minnesota team total over the 106.5.
So all 4 games in this series, Minnesota scored between 105 and 108. And this total's right in the middle. So they've been extraordinarily consistent with their offensive production. And this total, again, we're not talking about anything with a lot of leeway in one direction or the other. But you talked about how well the T-Wolves shot in Dallas. Last game, 52% from the floor, 46% from three-point range. They shot as well as they're going to shoot, and they didn't go over this total. Does that worry you here?
No, because the Dallas Mavericks shot 42%, so they had many fewer opportunities to shoot the ball than they would. They only had 74 shot attempts, Teddy, because Dallas struggled shooting. In the previous 3 games, they had 89 field goal attempts, 85 field goal attempts, and 85 field goal attempts. So they had 15, 11, and 11 more attempts the previous first 3 games in the series. I think that number is going to increase again today.
Ralph Michaels joining us, everybody. Shout out to Eric D in the chat room. Man, that guy is active. Love having you with us, Eric. I'm glad you slept late today. You obviously needed it. I need it every day, frankly. Ralph, MLB, Arizona against the Mets. I was on Arizona yesterday. I did not win that play. Where are we going today?
I mean, you could just call them the New York train wrecks. I mean, there's no team more dysfunctional right now than the New York Mets. You look at what they've gone through. They started the season. The Mets started the season on an 0-5 run. Then they reel off 12 of 15 wins, going 12-3. But since April 21st, they are only 10-25. And as a pick or dog, they're only 3-14. But how about this stat? At home on the season, as a pick or dog, the New York Mets are a perfect 0-8, losing by an average score of 4.75 to 1.5 runs per game. Now, normally if a team has a player meeting, I like being on them. Lindor called the player meeting after yesterday's catastrophes. But again, I think this is too late and too many things have happened. What do I mean? Well, let's see. Your number 1 hitter, best hitter on the team, Alonso, likely out for a while. We don't know the full, he got hit in the hand. They were worried it's going to be a long time. It still may be a long time. What happened yesterday as well? You lose your closer. Now your closer has been a train wreck. So losing your closer is not the worst thing in the world. But then you also had Lopez yesterday throw his glove into the stands and he got relegated. He got kicked off the team. So your top 2 receivers, you only have 3 relievers that have pitched over 20 innings per game. Solid relievers, you're now missing 2 of them. You're missing your number 1 home run hitter. You're missing your number slugging percentage. And you're going against Gallen. In every start this year, Gallen has allowed 3 runs or less. And the Mets are batting only 191 the last 7 games. I cannot see a situation where I will be on the Mets for the foreseeable future. We'll see what happens. But I do like Arizona with Gallen in this game tonight.
So this is one where the line really stands out to me. Ralph, why is Arizona minus 115 now at a lot of books? Clearly, they've taken the sharp money here's all on the Mets. Gallen, I know Gallen's they've lost his last 2. They're just 3-5 in his last 8. But this to me just feels like a sharp square divide game where the sharp money showing for the Mets and every public bettor is on Arizona. Does that worry you? Do you see the same thing? And isn't this the game that the Mets are supposed to win? After the players only meeting and after the horrible series?
Well, I started it with that, Teddy. That's the reason I didn't use this play, is because Lindor called that meeting. And when a guy, Lindor talked about, listen, this is the time that we have to make sure, I believe the quote was something like, we have to keep our heads against the water. It's all the way to our shoulders now. And until the trade deadline and until things happen, so I agree with you. It was enough for me with Lindor making those statements, having the players meeting, that I didn't make it a play. But I still think there's value. And I'll steal Steve Merrill's line. You don't want to catch a dropping knife, because if the Mets play well today, that's fine. I still might play against them. But if you said to me, which is more important, the current status of the Mets or the players only meeting, I still would side with Arizona in this short price range.
Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. And Ralph, you too have been having an outstanding go. Baseball's been excellent for you. Tell us what's going on with Ralph Michaels for the clients.
Well, MLB, a 17-4 run. I got one play up for tonight. And I do want to mention we're going to talk about no run first inning and yes run first inning and that chart I've done. Since I started this year and expanded the no run first inning chart that I post on Twitter daily, my 3 no run first inning plays are 30-7, 81%. I've had 37 plays this season, the entire season. I posted free, at least for the next few weeks. I'll continue posting them free. So check out my homepage daily, the shortcut wt.buzz/RM.
Brilliant stuff. Ralph, one of our listeners, Eric, writes, Uncle Ralph is one of our favorites. Teddy and I agree, man. He's one of our favorites too. Let's get into your chart. Oh, wait, Teddy, let's hear your negative.
Make fun of you.
Of course.
Yeah, here's my negative. Why, listeners, they're watching us, Lawrence. They're viewers. You understand? When they're in the live chat, they're watching the show. They're viewers. They're not listeners. Little thing, but be right.
Yeah, I am right, because nobody would ever watch this show without ears, but many people would listen to this show without eyes. Ralph, can we get into your chart?
We have a chart,
please?
which you need eyes for, and that's what Ralph's going to show us right now. They will be viewing the chart. Ralph, show us what you got.
Well, guys, on the no-run first inning chart, this year I added home and away games, and it's really helped me produce that incredible record because teams do play so differently. As always, I will put this on Twitter after the show. On the left-hand side, you see what the teams are, no-run first inning, most no-run first innings to fewest. So you see the White Sox. When the White Sox are at home, 80% of their games have been no-run first inning. Next to that number, you see how many times that team has scored in the first inning or not scored. So the White Sox have played 30 home games this year. They have not scored a first inning run 25 games, so that's 83.3% of the time. Over to the right, when you're looking at away teams, no run first inning, the Orioles have gone no run first inning 79.2% of the time. And to the right of that, you see I have it in black with white text. Look at that number. In away games this year, the Orioles have played 24 away games. They have scored a first inning run one time. One of 24 games, the Orioles' top 3 in the first inning has scored a run on the road. A remarkable number and just something to fade. Couple streaks, guys, just to mention. Arizona is on a 15-2 no-run first inning streak. The White Sox at home, a 12-1 no-run first inning streak. Colorado Rockies, 5 straight yes-run first inning and 11-1 the last 12. And Prez, how about this for your Toronto Blue Jays? The last time the Toronto Blue Jays scored a run in the first inning was May 4th, 21 games ago. I mean, those numbers are remarkable that the top of your lineup hasn't scored in the first inning for 21 run games. So check out the charts daily on Twitter at CalSportsLV, and check out my free play daily, wt.buzz/RM.
Not even a solo shot from the Toronto Blue Jays over the last 3 weeks in the first inning. Ralph, I do want to ask you about this. How predictive is this chart? In MLB, we want to ride streaks, but everything on the chart is all looking backwards. Looking forwards, does anything stand out to you from a predictive standpoint from maybe a team that's underachieved or overachieved or I don't know what? But, I guess it's not underachieving or overachieving when it comes to runs in the first inning. But is there anything that stands out to you on this chart that you might expect to change over the next month?
Well, Teddy, first of all, you are correct that you can't look at these numbers and make a prediction for today's games. That's why when you look at my yes run, no run first inning charts, I only post the last 2 weeks. So I only look at current form when I'm making my plays. I look at how teams have done at home, how teams have done away, put the two together when they're matching. And this is the one time in baseball that, even a crappy pitcher can get through a first inning. I think it has much more to do with batters betting first runs than it does pitchers. So I do look at pitchers that have had great no-run performances or have had poor no-run performances, so a yes play. But 80% of all my free plays that I've been using, and I've been using as client releases, is based on the hitters and based on what's happened the last 7 to 10 days. So this is year-to-date material, much less important than following the current trends for each team.
Ralph Michaels, can't thank you enough for joining us, brother. Every Thursday, same time, same channel. Ralph Michaels will be with us. 2 picks and a chart. Teddy, Sven Gunderson, another one of our listeners. And by the way, Teddy, these are turned into podcasts as well, so those people can't see.
Sure,
he writes, Prez had to be dead broke at least 3 times in his life. Firstly, I want to know what makes you think that. Secondly, twice, not 3 times. And I guarantee you there will not be a third time, no matter what. And really, the main reason is, Teddy, I've always gone for it. My whole life I've been an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs are not successful on every single endeavor that they do. I've always risked everything to try to build a better life for my family. I've never had a job working under someone in my entire life. It's always been starting companies. My first company I started in 1998. It was one of the best ideas I ever had in my life. It was in the porn industry. And the idea was so good, I spent my entire life savings on it, only to find out that Playboy and Penthouse stole my idea. And, well, I couldn't compete with them. That was broke number 1. Broke number 2 was many years later, again, risking everything to start a company, and it didn't work. But I have risked everything to start 5 companies. 2 didn't work. 2 worked well, and 1, WagerTalk, worked unbelievably. Okay, rolling your eyes, guy. What's the big game breakdown coming out of your mouth?
No, I'm much more interested in hearing you tell us about some how great you are.
I don't care about you and your interest, Teddy. Honestly, don't give a shit. Go ahead, dude. I'm talking to the people in the chat room, my brothers, my family.
Let's talk some college football. Big game breakdown. Why am I talking about it right now? Well, there's a couple reasons. 1, I gave you my NBA on Tuesday. I can't give it every time. 2, that's short on MLB for today. But 3, most importantly, we're talking about a key number that I don't think is going to be there. So we're talking about college football kickoff on Saturday, August 31st, and locking in good bets now. UNLV plus 3.5 stands out to me. It's a split line, +3, +3.5 as we speak. I've been in Las Vegas since 1998. This is, without a doubt, it's not close, the single best UNLV team that I've seen during that span. We saw it last year. They're returning just about all their skill position talent. In terms of the quarterback, yes, they lost their rising star QB. Nonetheless, I think they'll be fine at the QB position. Multiple transfers coming in, and it looks good. This is probably the best UNLV offensive line that I've ever seen since I've been here. They have 4 of their 5 key skill position players back in terms of wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. This offense is loaded. Barry Odom's a defensive coach by name, by trade, and last year it was not a good defense. They brought in a bunch of quality defenders, most notably the transfer portal. They went nuts. Brought in kids from A&M, from Texas. The secondary is going to be a lot better for UNLV this year. Contrast that with the Houston Cougars. all right, who had a very disappointing season last year, fired their head coach, Holgerson, bye-bye. Willie Fritz is coming in. And when you look at this roster, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen overnight for the Houston Cougars. And remember, Fritz, first 2 years at Tulane, he won a total of 9 games. It wasn't until he really put his stamp on the program the third year in that Tulane started to take off. This line is low for a reason. And again, there are plus 3.5 out there now that I'm not sure is going to be the case a month or two from now. Take the Rebels, plus 3.5, and look for UNLV to hang tough and maybe win in Houston on opening day. There's your big game breakdown, college football style. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Thank you, Teddy Covers. I was so interested in that. It was amazing. Best segment ever. You are the man. I love you. Guys, if you like this show, please, guys, if you like this show, please take a second and hit that like button. It would be greatly appreciated. Really appreciate all the love in this chat room as well. You know, guys, before we bring Kyle Anthony on real quick, I do something on the show that annoys the crap out of Teddy. I do it regularly.
Off air. Only off air.
Only off air.
Never when you're on camera. And if you did it on camera, they would rip you as much as I did. But only I get to see you when you do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to tell him what I do? Do you want to tell him?
He freaking cleans his ears. He takes his nasty Q-tips, opens the one thing, cleans his ear, shows me the Q-tip, and then throws it away. It's freaking gross. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Couple of nose picks. I was picking my teeth earlier. Yeah. Oh, it bugs you so much, Teddy. Oh.
Let's bring in Kyle. Look at that. That's the look.
Oh,
Kyle,
yeah, baby.
Please join us. Yeah.
Tan and handsome. Kyle freaking Anthony, dude. The sun loves Kyle. The sun must be female. How are you, bro?
Good, man. Good. I was enjoying the week off of UFC last weekend, so I got to the beach. I did my thing a little bit there.
Kyle, just real quick, guys, I want to tell you, the reason I clean my ears on the show, because I can clean them any bloody time I want, is it drives Teddy nuts. And I'm not going to stop doing these things. I love driving Teddy nuts. Kyle, you went away with your son, right? Where did you go? How was the trip?
Went to the good old Jersey Shore this weekend, got to the beach, spent about 3 days there, and, it's good. It's good. When I got the time, I got to do it. But this weekend, I'm going to be at the UFC event, so I'm pumped up about it. It was good to be off, but we're locked and loaded for this weekend.
Just real quick, where does a local go when it comes to the Jersey Shore? Back in the day, we used to go to Wildwood was the one town. There was another one we used to go to. Where do you go when you go? Those in the know. Lavalette, and then sometimes if you're trying to get some drinks, maybe Point Pleasant and stuff like that. But Seaside's a hit or miss. I'm not that big of don't like it that much over there. But Point Pleasant, there's some good beach spots there.
Ladies, Kyle will be at Point Pleasant in the next few weeks. If you want to line up, he will be at the UFC card on Saturday night. Kyle, let's get straight into that card. And there's going to be a great fight between Poirier and Makhachev. I hope I said that right.
Good job.
And the Strickland cost a fight too, dude. I mean, this is a really solid card. You're going to be giving us bets on both. Let's start with the Poirier fight. How do we bet this one?
Yeah, so in the main event here, we've got Islam Makhachev. He's a massive minus 625 favorite. On the other side, you've got Dustin Poirier plus 450. You've got Makhachev, current champion, elite level wrestling, and Poirier on the other side here, fantastic boxing, great footwork, good power. But this is definitely your classic grappler versus striker type of matchup here where you know what Islam's going to do. He's going to relentlessly push that pace, pressure wrestle, push you up against the fence, look to get those takedowns. And if he can do that, he's really going to find a lot of success hunting for that finish and really smothering anything that Dustin can really fire off offensively on the feet. Now, we did cash a nice ticket on Dustin Poirier on his last fight at plus 180, and it was a nice spot. He ended up getting that knockout, but the only thing that really comes out of that is the fact that the same issues in the grappling are happening, that really grapplers are getting to the back of Dustin Poirier. In a round and a half, that happened against St. Denis. In that fight, he had 3 takedowns in a round and a half, got to the back, threatened a submission. You even had Michael Chandler, had 3 takedowns. Even Khabib got to the back, submission finish, rear naked choke. Also, Charles Oliveira, rear naked choke. So you're seeing the same kinds of things happening. Although Dustin is an elite level striker, he is very susceptible and vulnerable to those takedowns, to the back control, and all of those things. And I think that's where this is going to really be going here. But, on the feet, Dustin has an opportunity there. There's no doubt, but a puncher's chance is probably about all I would give him. And the line is obviously indicating that. And the other part of it is Islam is really elevating his striking. I think that's something that's being a little bit overlooked, but the striking is there. He's tucking these takedowns behind some nice combinations. And one of the big things here also is the R word, is retirement. Dustin's been talking about that, and that's something that, again, is a little bit rumored, and he's kind of said it also that he wins or loses, he might retire. So whether you're back of the dog or not, I don't like hearing that regardless. And then also just the MMA mileage. MMA mileage way up there overall. He has taken a lot of damage, even in victories. He's taken a lot of damage. So getting off this big minus 625 number here, I like the path that's probably going to be happening here is a submission. It's a slight plus money around plus 105, depending where you're shopping it. And I think it's a high probability that's how this finishes here. So I do like Islam to get the job done via submission.
So, Makhachev opened, I'm just using the Westgate book here in Las Vegas, minus 450. I'm seeing minus 700 now. Have we missed it? Have we missed the best of the number on this, or is it still worthy of a wager despite the wise guy support?
Yeah, I mean, this is just crazy wide. I mean, this is the kind of things, and we're even going to talk about in the next fight, that, you kind of got to get creative. You got to start whittling it down and kind of looking for the path of, that's really the more likely path. And for me, looking at way he fights, the vulnerabilities of Dustin, it really lines up pretty well that this is getting to the mat. And I think, honestly, Islam has a decision to make. Do I want to, ground and pound him or submit him? I think that's where it's going to be, but I think he's going to get that submission and get that finish.
Kyle Anthony joining us, everyone. And Kyle, I mean, you've just been absolutely outstanding in UFC all year long. You're up 49 units of profit in 2024. You've cashed 13 of your last 15 events. There's a reason we have you on our site and we have you on the show. And it's not that you pay me under the table. What do you have for the clients in this for this Saturday night?
So I definitely have a 5% play. We have a nice run, 6-0 run on those 5% plays. Really like the spot that we do have. Overall, I have 5 positions that I have right now. 3 of them are at plus money. And normally I do have 4 or 5 spots, but this may be a little bit more. I do like this card from a betting perspective. So could be 6 or 7, which is definitely a little more higher volume than I'm normally used to. But I do like this spot here. Check it out, WagerTalk.com, and we're going to keep this hot streak going.
Brilliant stuff. Guys, hit that like button, please, and subscribe to our channel. We have 157,000 subscribers. I'd like to get to 200,000 by the end of the day. Likely not this day, but a day. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. How you betting this fight? Paulo. I like that name, Paulo. I'm going to shut up now.
But do you have more to say, Prez? Go ahead. This is your show. Anything else?
I was thinking of a Paula. I had a 5-year booty call when I was young. That was all. She was one of those. She was one of those ones that I just call up on the phone and be like, "I'll be there in 10 minutes." One time, she locked her boyfriend in the washroom to take care of my needs.
She sounds like a keeper.
Well, I didn't keep her, but somebody did.
That's true. Good point. But maybe we'll talk about Paulo right now. Maybe we should talk about that.
Go ahead.
So anyway, great transition. We have Sean Strickland. He's minus 250 on the comeback. You've got Paulo Costa plus 190. Strickland here primarily really has been boxing. He weaponizes that cardio and pressure. On the other side, you've got Costa, where big bruiser comes forward with heavy hands. And when you're looking really at Costa here and this plus money, the big issue for me when you're looking at trying to take a dive on this one is between 2018 and 2022, he's averaged one fight per year. And this is a guy that the UFC really was pushing forward. They were really looking at kind of making this guy, the next big thing, the hype train. And he just really kind of fell off the wagon. He was missing weight, wasn't, canceled fights, all kinds of crazy stuff here. And now we're in a position where this is supposed to be kind of the rejuvenation of Paulo Costa overall. But when you're looking at it stylistically, that both of these guys are going to pressure forward, they're going to have volume, they're going to be throwing those big shots here. Both of them average around 6 significant strikes landed per minute, which is fairly high overall. And Costa's more of, the bruiser, going to throw those heavy shots overall. But on the other side, Strickland is a guy that's more pitter-patter shots. He's going to work from the outside. He's not going to throw everything at 100% power. He's just going to kind of work from the outside and really just out volume. And I think that's going to be a problem for Costa, where early in this fight, this is a 5-rounder where I do think Costa could find some success, really kind of, pushing forward, throwing those big shots. But the other side of it is that Sean Strickland is so defensively sound that he uses the Philly shell very well. He just kind of, very risk adverse, uses his jab very well, and just walks opponents down, and just, they kind of melt. They really kind of can't handle that pressure. You saw what he did to Israel Adesanya. Very, very high level striker, but very basic, but very high level striker overall. Now, could you see some wrestling here? Duplessis had success there against Strickland, got 6 takedowns against Strickland. That kind of probably banked him some rounds and got him the victory. So I do think that's possible. But one of the biggest advantages in this fight for Strickland is going to be that this is a 5-round fight. Costa has only had one 5-round fight, and that was back in 2021. And even there, it wasn't the greatest showing overall. He came in overweight, while Strickland on the other side here, 6 of his last 8 victories come by decision. And he's a point fighter. He's a guy that just pepper shots. He's not looking for the KO shot. He doesn't really even really hunt for that. He just will stay safe, outwork him. So in this spot here, you've got Sean Strickland minus 250. I think pretty back here at some nice plus money of plus 200 is really good for decision here for Strickland. I think it's a likely path, and I love that plus money there.
Kyle Anthony joining us. Kyle, one of our viewers, RK, writes, Kyle can have my wife for a lifetime pass of his picks. RK, Kyle's already had your wife, bro. And he don't need to be giving out picks. Okay, brother.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Kyle Anthony,
take care, guys.
I love having you on the show, bro. Go tan. You need some color. Teddy covers. What a fun show. Guys, great news for Teddy. I will not be on the show tomorrow. Going golfing early with my dad and my brothers. My brothers don't golf, so it should be a fun day. But hey, with the dad being 80, we're all trying to do stuff together. So we'll see you guys on Monday. For me, we do a show lined up for tomorrow. Teddy and Steve Merrill will be hosting. My friend Teddy, take us home.
Enjoy the games. Best of luck with your wagers. We'll be back with another edition of Wager Talk Today tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Between now and then, kick some ass. Cheers.